Daily Fantasy 5. This is Friday, August 16th, episode 176. We are bringing you the 5 things you need to know every day in the world of fantasy sports. My name is Scott Grierson. I'm your host. Today, we're talking a lot of NFL news from the preseason games last night. We're also going to talk about a strategy where we take both Pittsburgh Steelers' second and third wide receivers, hoping to pick up lightning in a bottle from one of those two guys. Then we're going to wait one extra day and talk about two teams tomorrow on the NFL Countdown Extravaganza. So let's talk about all that after a word from our sponsor, www.mathradio.com, where you can pick up an online math course for as little as $9.99 to help your kids ages 7 through 17 get better grades, score higher in exams, and even get into college with the help of an online SAT math course. Go to mathradio.com today and get started. Okay. Let's start in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck. So word out of Indianapolis is that they are guardedly optimistic that Andrew Luck will be ready for week 1. This opinion does not sound pleasant to me. I do not like hearing that, well, he was my, third quarterback overall, is not going to be ready for week 1. That just doesn't sound good. So the question is, where should we now be drafting Andrew Luck? Is he behind Mahomes? Yes. Is he behind Watson? For me, he now is. I'm moving Watson up like a rising star. Is he behind Rodgers? Yes. Behind Baker Mayfield? That is a good question. I don't think so. Behind Matt Ryan? Yes. Behind Drew Brees? No. Cam Newton? No. Wentz? No. Kyler Murray? No. So right now I have him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth still. Wow. That still makes me nervous with Andrew Luck at fifth. I just don't trust Baker either. So, I mean, here's the thing. After you get through kind of the first there's probably a tier right there, the first 5 guys, right? Even the first 4 guys with Mahomes, Watson, Rodgers, and Ryan. They're pretty safe. You got to figure they're going to all be in the top 10, right? Outside of that, the rest of the guys, they're all basically the same. So this is why I am drafting quarterback late in almost every league I'm in. So I'm going to drop Andrew Luck to QB number 5, and we're going to sit with him right there for now. Can he finish behind Baker? I would still rather have Andrew Luck in all leagues rather than Baker, but we'll see what the news brings. It keeps getting worse every day. Next NFL injury is Keenan Allen. So he has an ankle injury. He is going to be out until week 1. I don't like hearing this either. Keenan Allen is not a guy I typically target. He does tend to fall to me quite often. He's kind of at the end of a tier for me, with guys like who? That you're picking in the third round, something like that, or even late. Usually like the third round. I like him better than T.Y. Hilton, or at least I did. I don't like him better than Cooper or Thielen, but I do like him kind of ahead of guys like Julian Edelman and Brandon Cooks. So I guess I like my guys a little bit different. I don't think Allen was ever in that group with Antonio Brown and Mike Evans and Schuster and those guys. I think he was always a tier below. But now I'm going to move him kind of towards the end of that tier. I'm going to take Cooper and Thielen and all those guys ahead of him. With this injury, Stephen Diggs probably moves up. Maybe Robert Woods moves up ahead of him. Guys like that I think I'd like a lot better. But Julian Edelman's still not on the board for me at that point. Okay, moving on. Antonio Brown expected to be full strength by next week. So this is good. He's moving in the other direction, even though his ADP keeps dropping and dropping and dropping. On ESPN, he is now wide receiver number 8, drafting. Yeah, he's being drafted. He's dropped 3.5 spots in the last 7 days, according to ADPs, right? So you can get him at the end of the first round at this point. Into the second round at this point, maybe even into the third. So I think that's great value. I'm drafting Antonio Brown. If I'm given the choice and I have Mike Evans and Antonio Brown, and I'm drafting, say, on the hook on the way back, I have the number 1 overall spot, and I've got the last pick in the second round, and both of those guys are on the board. I'm probably taking Mike Evans, but honestly, if I took a running back in the first round, I'm probably taking both guys. So, yes, I think I'm going to rank them Evans and then Brown at this point. But I still like this news about Brown. I think he's going to be just fine. I just think he's kind of a diva, and we're all seeing that, but we should have known that before. The other big story that I kind of wanted to talk today about was the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver situation. So Juju is going to be the clear and obvious number 1, but it should be clear from Juju's role the last few years that number 2 wide receiver role in Pittsburgh is absolutely valuable, and you want to have that guy on your team. That's why I've been pounding James Washington pretty much all offseason long in best ball. But Moncrief came back from that injury, and even though Washington has played well, it seems like Moncrief still might be in line for that number 2 role. So, can we get both of them on our team? Well, I did kind of I don't know, not an actual mock draft, but I just went through according to ADP. I never drafted anyone above their ADP, so everyone came in below, higher than later than they're supposed to be drafted. And this is the team I came up with the third pick in a 12-team league, okay, with both these wide receivers. So I got Kamara in round 1, right? That's number 3 overall. And then I took Antonio Brown on the way back at number 22. Then I took Amari Cooper at 27, Jeffrey at number 46. So that's my first 4 picks. I have Kamara, and then I have 4 wide receivers: Antonio Brown, Amari Cooper, and Alshon Jeffrey. All those guys are very, I think, secure number 1 options at wide receiver. That gives you 2 wide receivers every single week who are going to be fantastic, plus a flex option right there. And then at your running back position, I close that out by drafting James White in round number 5. I realize I'm drafting James White typically in round number 4, but according to ADP, I was able to get him in this slot at number 51. So right now, I'm very happy after the end of the 5 rounds with Kamara and White. Then I'm picking up a couple more running backs just to fill out the running back spot here with Cohen from the Bears and Coleman from the 49ers. So now I have 4 running backs and 3 wide receivers after 7 rounds. Okay, we're moving to pick 94, and I'm taking Dante Pettis. So now I have 4 running backs, 4 wide receivers. Pick number 9, I take Jared Goff because I know a lot of people like to take quarterbacks in this range. I'm still going to wait if it's just me, but I wanted to kind of make this more simulated. So I would take Jared Goff here. That is pick number 9. Now, here is where I'm going to draft my Pittsburgh wide receivers at 10 and 11. Now, you could wait and get one of them at 11, most likely, and then wait and try to get the other one at round 12. That's probably what I would do. You want to get value in these picks. But to guarantee you get both of them, you're probably going to have to draft them in rounds 10 and 11. So I took Washington in round 10, Moncrief in round 11. That's picks 118 and 123. So not very far apart. Those are my wide receivers 5 and 6. Okay. What I don't like about this is that I don't have the opportunity to take one of my deep sleepers later on. So I might take one less wide receiver, maybe take a running back at that pick number 94 where I got Pettis, or even early where I took Jeffrey. You can take a running back there at 46 at wide receiver 3. But this way you get both of those wide receivers. Now, if one of those guys turns into the clear number 2 wide receiver in Pittsburgh, you probably have at least a flex wide receiver on your squad out of those 2 picks in picks 8, 9, 10, and 11. All right, I'm happy to give up picks 10 and 11 to get a solid flex player on my team. Okay, so I think that might be a viable strategy here. Close off the draft. You can still get Jones from Tampa Bay as my running back 5. I'm happy with that. And then grabbing 2 tight ends late since I didn't grab it one early. I'm going to take Mark Andrews and Tyler Eifert. Yes, both guys have risk, but they both also have huge upside. If Tyler Eifert can actually stay healthy, he'll be fantastic. And if he can't, you just cut him, and who cares? You pick up another tight end. Hopefully one of those 2 guys will hit and be my tight end in the future, and then I'll cut the other one and fill in where I need to, either with for injuries or whatever the case may be, bye weeks. So that is one way you can pick up both Pittsburgh wide receivers, and I think it's actually a pretty good option. I don't mind because the draft capital, it's not like you have to spend. People try to do this with the Rams running back situation where you take Gurley and you take Henderson, right? But you have to take Gurley in round 1 or 2. You have to take Henderson in round 6 or 7. That's a lot of draft capital to spend on essentially one position. Whereas with this Pittsburgh situation, we're only spending around 10 pick and around 11 pick. That's not nearly as much capital, and you're still getting that one solid player. So I like the strategy much better with the Pittsburgh players than the Los Angeles Rams players. Okay, that's it for the show today. We'll be back tomorrow with a double episode of the NFL Countdown Extravaganza. Please like us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on the podcast. Give us a 5-star rating and a review. And go to mathradio.com. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.